Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tea from the Galaxy, a thirst-quenching podcast for the girls, gays, theys, and astrology baes, where we talk about anything and everything through an astrological lens. So today we have the December 2025 horoscope. It is holiday season, so let's get into it. I like the first half of the month. It's not super bad. The second half of the month gets a little bit more tense, I'll say, which is interesting because that's when the holidays are. Let's just jump into it. So first things first, we are clear of Mercury retrograde. Actually, a lot more planets are starting to station direct. There was 5 planets retrograde in November. So if you felt confused, chaotic, lost, stagnant, like things weren't working in your favor, or just moves weren't being made, or you were just lacking clarity, you can start to find more clarity now this month moving forward, because Mercury is out of retrograde. Later in the month, Neptune also stations direct too. So this is almost like a feeling of a lifting the veil, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, a little bit more brighter, a little bit more clearer. So this month, Mercury isn't retrograde anymore, but we are still in Mercury Shadow period. And what this means is November 29th, Mercury stopped, and now it's moving back, crossing the same tracks again. So it's a shadow period, retrogradation, and then shadow period again. But this time around, we are feeling more clarity. The first shadow period, it's like problems are being brought up, bubble it up to the surface. Retrograde happens, we're being called to reevaluate, reflect, rest, and then stations direct, second shadow period, and now we are being called to solve these problems, come up with a solution, take action, and move forward. So this is the 3-part Mercury retrograde storyline. We are in part 3 now, the first half of December. So if you could think of anything that was started, brought up in October time, maybe arguments that was had as well, just things bubbling up to the surface, thoughts being brought in your mind, messages that you've received, or even projects started too in October. You could have realized in last month in November, you were like, oh shit, okay, I need to actually do things way differently. This is the perspective I might need to have on it. I thought I was going to do things this way, but I'm going to do it this way. Maybe something irritated you, and then during the retrogradation, you were like, actually, it's not that deep. Let me just drop it, or let me confront it in this way. Let me make this decision. Let me do things in a different manner. That's what should have been done during the Mercury retrograde. What I said, a lot of reflecting, reevaluating, taking it easy, not really the best time to start anything. But now, moving forward, this is a better time to kind of make decisions or start new things. Now, in this third part of the storyline, you could feel more clarity and be like, okay, this bothered me in October. I thought about it in November. Now in December, this is how I'm going to go about it. And that's kind of the vibe. So Mercury is going to be in its shadow period, I believe, until like mid-December. So, the first half of this month could definitely feel more of a continuation of things being brought up since October, but now you feel more stable and more clear-headed, clear-minded to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do moving forward. The first lunation of this month happens on December 4th, and that is a full moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. So this full moon is not really making any aspects. I mean, it's making a distant opposition to Venus and Mars. So it could feel like maybe a little emotionally erratic for some people, or maybe there's some type of head versus heart thing in terms of relationships, or some type of financial pull that's happening, or maybe a pull in some type of relationship, you versus me type of vibe. Like what I said, this is a distant opposition with the full moon. For the most part, this full moon is not making any aspects. So it's kind of like, doing its own thing. Full moons are a time of an illumination of something that was once hidden, or an aha moment, especially in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, which is a planet of communication and messages. This is could be or feel like a light bulb moment. Full moons are also a culmination of events of anything that was started around the new moon 6 months prior. So I believe this new moon happens one of the last days of May. I'm thinking like May 27th or 28th, 2025 of this year. So if you want to think of anything that was happening or started around the last week of May, first week of June, you could start to see that come into fruition now and start to see things really grow and blossom from there. I'm just feeling like a lot of messages, like a lot of people are going to receive some type of message this month, whether it's a light bulb moment in your head, a literal message from someone else, some type of gossip that makes you rethink a situation, a letter in the mail, an offer, job offer, a love offer. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of messages to be received this month. I feel like if you have anything from the second and third decan of the mutable signs, around the 13 degrees of this full moon to 29 degrees in Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, or Virgo, I feel like you're going to be feeling this full moon effect the most. Especially in terms of if it feels chaotic for you. For the rest of collective, I feel like this could just be a light bulb, aha moments, or a time where you're like really getting the wheels turning on something that has been in works for the past 6 months, especially because Mercury is direct too now. The next day on the 5th, the Sun in Sagittarius squares the North Node in Pisces at 13 degrees. So a square is a tense aspect. The Sun in astrology represents us, our identity, our ego, and the North Node is a point in astrology that represents our highest purpose, our life's destiny. So the square between the two shows tension. So this could look like a push and pull between where you're at in life and where you're meant to be, like, or kind of like an ego death, or knowing that you have to leave something, someone, a mentality, a job, something behind so you can pursue a better life path, and then be in a more alignment with your highest purpose. So this could feel tense for a lot of people. On the 7th is a grand water trine that is happening. So if you have water placements, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, you guys have been feeling a little lucky lately. Like, there's been a lot of grand water trines happening in the air. So for the water signs, it's been feeling nice, flowy. The downside of a water trine is a feeling of laziness. So definitely, make the most out of this energy, because it's lucky energy that's happening to the water signs right now. It's very flowing, it's creative, it's loving. So really put yourself out there for love opportunities, for career opportunities, for opportunities to learn more about yourself. Don't succumb to laziness that can come from a grand water trine, because it's almost like, yeah, things are going well now, let me just like sit back and not work on myself. That's the downside to when there's a grand water trine happening, or a grand water trine in someone's birth chart too. The Mercury in Scorpio, Jupiter in Cancer, and Saturn in Pisces will be all in a grand water trine, so they're all flowing together. Basically, the planet of communication and messages is in harmony with the planet of luck and the planet of long-term building. So this is a really nice aspect for building long-term success and foundations. And this is another aspect where I said before that I feel like a lot of people are going to receive messages, and lucky messages too. It's going to be like a big messenger like type of month. This could be something where you're receiving, especially the water signs, a really good message that is good for your long-term success or laying foundations and for future growth. Jupiter, the planet of luck, is in harmony with the planet Saturn, which is all about like, the long game, foundation, stability, security. Those two planets being in harmony together is kind of like you're receiving luck in terms of building long-term success, and then the planet of communication is coming around the corner, is like, here's a message for you, and this is what that's going to be. So like what I said, this could literally be a job offer, a letter in the mail, an offer from a friend, a love offer. It really depends where this lays in your chart, but I really like this energy for the collective in general, but especially for the water signs. It's really nice. I will say though, on the next day, on the 8th, Mars and Sagittarius squares Saturn and Pisces at 25 degrees. So Mars and Sagittarius is kind of disrupting this grand water trine slightly, especially if you have mutables in your chart, Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo, or Gemini, because a Mars square Saturn aspect is so super duper frustrating. Mars is the planet of action. It's go-getter, it's go, 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 it's fiery, it's dominant, it's aggressive. It just wants to get shit done. And Saturn is like, whoa, take it easy. I also want to be successful, but being successful takes time. And Mars is like, fuck that, I want to be successful now. So the square between the two planets' energy shows tension from what's already a tension there. You know, they're very different. They're very alike in a lot of ways, the two planets, because they're very much go-getter, but they're go-getter in two different ways. So the square shows tension. You might be feeling like you want to get started on something, get it moving, and you're overly excited about something, but you feel this pull, this tug, almost like you're trying to run in quicksand type of vibe, or there's obstacles coming your way, frustration. Could be like also an authority figure that's kind of killing your vibe. Or I just got the thought in my head, like, you know, you're trying to build a house or open up a restaurant, open up a storefront, and then you're getting smacked with all these delays of, you know, things that you have to go through in order to get approved to build on this land or to open a restaurant, you know, like that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting, like feeling very excited about wanting to start something and just wanting to do it already, but there's a lot of obstacles coming your way. So definitely watch for that. On the 10th, Mercury in Scorpio opposes Uranus and Taurus at 28 degrees. And this aspect is just extreme ADD or an inability to focus, feeling like you have a lot on your plate, starting projects and not finishing them, or it's like an evil genius type of aspect. If you're really trying to think outside the box on something, like, you know, a couple days before you're getting, obstacles are being thrown in your face, and maybe, you know, throughout the next couple of days, you're kind of thinking outside of the box. How could we work around this? What's the solution? What are we going to do in the meantime? This is a really good time to kind of tap in, get really innovative, because this is a very innovative thinking, brainstorming type of aspect. So, or even if you want to connect with people who bring that out of you, or maybe people who are that within themselves, connecting to people, because Mercury is all about conversing, right? Connecting, socializing. So even if you want to reach out to people to kind of help that brainstorming, or reach out to people to kind of open up your headspace and open up your mind and mentality, change your way of thinking, this is a really nice thing to do. Or maybe you're connecting with people who you usually wouldn't connect with, or outside of your circle, and you learn something about yourself, or you learn something in general. This is also a nice aspect to kind of hang out with people who you normally wouldn't hang out with. On the same day, Neptune stations direct. So now that Neptune is out of retrograde, this is another aspect where the veil is being lifted. We're starting to move with more confidence. We're seeing things with more clarity. The rose-colored glasses could start to shatter about certain situations that we're in, or certain things or certain problems in our life. So this is a nice thing to know. I think a lot of rose-colored glasses are going to be shattered this month, and messages are going to reel in, or maybe the messages that are coming in are a catalyst for the rose-colored glasses being shattered as well. On the 11th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. So remember, Mercury is still in its shadow period. Mercury was in Sagittarius for a little bit last month. It was in Sagittarius from October 29th until November 9th. So if you want to think of anything that was happening around that time period, it could be brought up again, like anything that was started around that time. Now you're being called to kind of find a solution, or maybe you have the solution, you reflected on it, and now you're being called to take action on it. So any projects, conversations, thoughts that were had, things that were brought up in your mind, definitely keep note of that, because now the universe is calling you to, come on, let's get a move on it, babe. Be careful of making decisions off of high optimism. Like, it's a really optimistic placement and aspect, but sometimes it gets too cocky, or it thinks too much in black and white. It doesn't look at the gray area. Mercury in Sagittarius is not good at reading the details like its sister sign Gemini. Mercury in Sagittarius is so focused on the bigger picture, that it doesn't understand the steps it has to get in order to achieve the bigger picture. I always give the warning of be careful of foot and mouth syndrome with Mercury and Sagittarius. This is an aspect that, it just be shit talking and it's like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. It's very funny. Like, I love this aspect. Like, what the fuck just came out of your mouth? Like, that is a Mercury and Sagittarius aspect, but sometimes it can land you in really bad situations because you didn't think about what you said, babe. Sometimes it lands well and it's funny, and then sometimes it just crashes and burns. This aspect is also giving ADHD too, like just taking on a lot of projects, a lot of activities, feeling social, curious, adventurous, wanting to do this and that. So, this could also feel like maybe a busy time period, or maybe you're taking on a lot, putting a lot on your plate, and then you're actually not really able to take it all on. But it's a really nice social aspect. It's a really nice aspect to, if you want to learn more about something, if you want to travel, if you want to expand your mind, having Mercury in Sagittarius is an awesome time to do that. On the 14th, Mars in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees. So this is just another kind of running in a quicksand type of aspect. So this is where the astrology of the month starts to turn a little bit, because there's a lot of squares happening, especially to the mutable signs, because all these planets are moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius, and as they're making their way through Sagittarius, they're making all these tense aspects to Neptune and Saturn, which is going to bring a lot of trying to run in quicksand, a lot of obstacles, a lot of illusions, rose-colored glasses moments, a lot of realizing that you were being deluded or played or manipulated. So yeah, that's the vibe that's starting to happen here. So definitely be careful. I always say with Mars square Neptune aspect, be careful with drugs and drinking, escaping, any type of escaping, because Mars is the god of war. Like, it brings, it can bring hurt, it can bring pain. And then Neptune is the planet of illusions, delusions, and sometimes it's like an oopsie planet, So it kind of reminds me of like trying to cut food with a butter knife. Like, yeah, it's a knife and you might be able to do it, but it's not sharp enough. You could easily slip and cut your finger, I don't know. That's just kind of what it reminds me of. So yeah, definitely be careful with the kind of actions that you're doing, accidentally hurting yourself, just kind of how you're maneuvering this. Be careful with making decisions too. This is, if you're making any type of decisions right now, really make sure, especially because Mercury's in Sagittarius too, really make sure that you are really dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's. Like, if you have to sign any contracts, I would get a lawyer involved, or really like read over it over and over and over again. Make sure you really know what you're getting yourself into, because this is something that this aspect right now is making stupid decisions off of high optimism and feeling cocky. So definitely be careful with that. But the next day, Mars moves into Capricorn, and I really like when Mars is in Capricorn. Mars also likes being in Capricorn too. So it brings a lot of stability and sturdiness to the actions that we're taking, but it's still equally hardworking. It's still equally go-getter and wanting to get shit done. It's a boss bitch aspect. I love Mars and Capricorn, and I also love people who have their Mars and Capricorn too. I love that aspect. It's so hardworking. It's so dedicated. It's so reliable. And yeah, if you're like really wanting to get shit done and like be a boss bitch and just like really be about your business, this is a really nice aspect to just really focus on yourself, on your goals, on the long term, and really lock in, despite the obstacles that you guys could be facing. This is a time to really like turn inward. It's like a pre-New Year's resolution vibe. Like, you're like the second half of the month, you're like plotting and planning how you want your 2026 to go. On the next day, the Sun in Sagittarius squares Saturn in Pisces at 25 degrees. So this could look like arguments with some type of authority figure, whether that is a parent, a boss, a teacher, someone just older than you. There's some type of ego hit being brought to you by an authority figure or something like that. Or there's obstacles, frustration coming your way that's really killing your vibe, or something that's happening that's like causing you to really mature and really look at things in a different perspective, where you're like, okay, I need to buckle down and get serious. Along with this Mars and Capricorn, like this is definitely, it's giving serious, okay? And especially towards the end of the month, all these planets and Sagittarius are going to be in Capricorn, definitely giving serious, okay? We getting serious now. On the 19th is the new moon in Sagittarius at 28 degrees. This new moon is sandwiched in between Venus in Sagittarius and Mars in Capricorn. It is also squaring Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. Oh yeah, this is a little doozy. Not me being like, oh, this new moon in Sagittarius at 28 degrees. I don't think anything's happening. No, a big chunk of monkeys happening on this new moon in Sagittarius. New moons are a time of new beginnings. It's a time of planting seeds of what you want to grow and blossom over the next 6 months. It's a time of starting new projects, manifesting, and really turning inward too. New moons are supposed to be very internal. It's very much opposite than full moon. Full moon is more external. New moons are more internal. They're equally emotional, but we're called to turn inward during a new moon to learn more about ourselves, to tap in, to really see what types of seeds we want to plant and grow and manifest. What do we want to manifest over the 6 months? Now, let's take it a step further. Where does Sagittarius lay in your chart? So you can kind of know the specifics of what kind of things to manifest and bring into your life over the next 6 months. So definitely know where Sagittarius lays in your chart. But overall, this new moon happening in Sagittarius, it is touching Venus in Sagittarius. So this could also be a good time to manifest, bring love into your life. It's squaring Saturn. So long-term love, this is a good time, manifest long-term love into your life. But just know, if you are manifesting love or money into your life during this time, it could bring a lot of obstacles and frustration, but the perk of having Saturn there is for the long term, and it's kind of like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? I'll give it to you. You're going to have to jump through some hoops, bring you success, but don't give up on me, because I'm going to give you a lot of life lessons while making this work for you. So, yeah, tap in, turn inward, see what you're feeling in terms of manifestation or what you want to bring into your life, because there's a lot that's happening under this new moon. And I wouldn't say it's good. I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say it depends on your perspective. I think there's a lot that's good, but there's a lot that's like, ooh, The square to Neptune could also bring some type of rose-colored glasses shattering moment on this new moon that causes it to be very emotional and causes you to turn inward, kind of like a dark night of the soul type of vibe is what I'm getting. The new moon is also conjunct touching the Mars, but Mars is in Capricorn, but it's still kind of close. It's within a 5-degree orb, so could definitely bring a lot of emotions, a lot of heightened emotions, feeling erratic with your emotions too, feeling aggressive, because Mercury is also squaring the North Node. I just feel like maybe some conversation, some news, some offer that's being brought to you is really just triggering some type of emotion in you. It's bringing a lot of head versus heart. This whole month I feel like is a big like head versus heart type of thing, or ego versus a higher calling type of thing, so that is a continuation of this vibe. So I would definitely, my best piece of advice is to really turn inward and really lock in, learn a lot about yourself. Who are you when you're alone and there's no outside noise and there's no other people trying to influence you? Who are you to your core? What do you truly want? New moons in Sagittarius too. Sagittarius rules things of higher learning, traveling, expanding your mind, expanding your horizons. So overall, as a collective, this is another nice thing to manifest and bring into your life at this time during this new moon. On the 21st, Venus in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees. So yeah, Venus is a planet of love, relationships, and finances, showing tension between the planet of karma, hardships, obstacles. So this could definitely feel like a lot of obstacles are being thrown your way in terms of love or finances, which sucks because that's right before the holidays. So I'm feeling like there's breakups happening, but you're still coming with me to Christmas, you know, or like fights before the holidays, a lot of tension, a lot of feeling like maybe you can't afford how you would usually spend the holidays. It's not the same anymore. Like that type of vibe I'm feeling. Or just like a more seriousness, a more gray cloud being brought to distance, cold to your relationships. So definitely just, you know, keep note of that. Also mean an authority figure is kind of affecting your relationships or your financial situation. So definitely be aware of that as well. The same day, the sun moves into Capricorn, which is definitely a little bit more of a mature, serious vibe overall. On the 24th, Venus in Sagittarius squares Neptune in Pisces. And then later in the day, Venus moves into Capricorn. So yeah, this is just giving like rose-colored glasses, shattering, because Neptune is now in direct. It's not retrograde anymore. I really don't like a Venus square Neptune aspect to start a relationship or to get into a relationship or to start dating someone at this time, because you are just not seeing things correctly. Like, think of a square to Neptune as a veil in front of your eyes. You are not seeing things clearly. You're not understanding what's happening correctly. Extremely romantic. If it feels too good to be true, it might be, okay? It could feel like, oh my God, how is this even real? Because it's not, babe. Or this could mean the complete opposite, where the rose-colored glasses is completely shattering and it's just truly heartbreaking. I feel like for a lot of people, maybe this could, you know, it's the holidays, maybe it could feel like romantic, it's gift giving, you like feel good in the relationship that you're in, but tread carefully, all right? Just because someone could be giving you a nice gift or even bringing you home for the holidays doesn't mean everything. You know, so later in the day, Venus moves into Capricorn, so it's a little bit more stable type of vibe. Venus in Sagittarius is definitely more extroverted, flirty, this and that, maybe dating around, maybe dating multiple people, a new love for a new study, or maybe you're traveling a lot too. Now Venus moves into Capricorn and it's like, all right, now you're going to choose someone who you want to date. Like Venus in Sagittarius is like dating multiple people at once. And then Venus in Capricorn is like, okay, now I want to focus on who do I really want to build with? What are my long-term goals? What's a future partner, dream future partner for me? What do I want to build with my current partner moving forward? You know, Venus in Sagittarius was a little bit more fun, and then Venus moving into Capricorn until January is a little bit more serious, stabilizing, and focused on building long-term. Lastly, on the 30th, Mercury in Sagittarius squares Saturn in Pisces at 26 degrees. So this is a time where maybe possibly a lot of harsh conversations are being had. This is another aspect that I've been saying throughout the month, that's like some type of message being brought to you that is you having to choose something, an ego hit, an ego versus a higher calling type of thing, a message that kills your vibe in some type of way. That was the vibe earlier in the month, just feeling very excited about something, and then the vibe getting killed, obstacles coming your way, you know, that type of vibe. So this is just a continuation of that. More obstacles are being brought to you, more frustration. A good way to go around this is learning more. Mercury in Sagittarius, like what I said, is all about expanding your mind, expanding your horizons. So a good thing to do during this time. Mercury in Sagittarius is also very social. It's very good at being social with other people. So this could be another way. Like, you know, it's kind of like that that saying that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. That's this kind of aspect. So if there's things that are bothering you, try and see who can help you figure it out, or try to expand your mind and go outside the box and see how you can figure this out. But this is definitely, could be a great cloud over your head in terms of some type of news that you receive, or message, or conversation that you have. So yeah, guys, that was the horoscope of December 2025. I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely let me know if any of this resonates with you guys throughout the month. And I will see you guys in next week's episode. Happy holidays, guys.